Hey everyone, Brenda Flanders with the Utah Sport Karate League here with another competitor highlight. Before we bring on our special guest, just want to remind you of a couple of upcoming events that we have still left on the schedule for 2024. We have our Battleground Sparring happening August 23rd. That will be at the Legacy Event Center in Farmington. Followed by the Valor Showdown, the 13th and 14th of September, and then finally the USKL Finals happening October 11th and 12th. So for more information on our schedule and our upcoming schedule for 2025, go ahead and jump on over to the USKL website. That's utahsportkarateleague.com, and you can see all the listings there, including our rules, our division lists, and our new revised judges certification. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on our special guest. Here with me today, we have Mr. Kamryn Garrido. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule and giving us a little insight on you as a competitor. So
Of course.
let's go ahead and start. We've got Kamryn Garrido. He is a third-degree black belt training with Valor Academy of Martial Arts under my direction. I can personally speak that he is an outstanding martial artist. He's an outstanding competitor. He's an outstanding instructor, and I know you guys have all seen him in the rings. He's an awesome judge as well. So, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, kind of a man of all trades.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, kind of bragging about you a little bit more. I know how dedicated you are. You put a lot into your craft. You put a lot of time into yourself. You put a lot of time into the students, and you put a lot of time into this league. And personally, I'm really grateful for you and everything that you offer our sport, our school, and our community. So I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you. I mean, without the league, there wouldn't be any tournaments or anything to really work towards as far as competition wise, as far as Utah goes. So I appreciate you.
Well, thank you. All right, well, let's get into it. All of our viewers would like to know a few things about you. So let's just start out
Sweet.
with training. What does training look like for you?
Well, as you said, I am on the floor instructing a lot of the time. So at the dojo on the floor, I'm there 6 days a week, sometimes from 4 to 8 o'clock, ending almost every night with black belt training. Tuesday nights are dedicated to competition training.
Yeah, you do a lot of one-on-one private lessons with me as well. There's tons of time that you put into this, and I'm sure all the competitors can see the achievements and the growth and just the dynamic competitor that you are. So what with competing, you've been obviously a solid competitor at the Utah Sport Karate League. You've also been a member of the WKU Team USA 2023. I know you've got your sights on the upcoming league finals happening in Las Vegas. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the goals that you have to finish out this year?
Obviously, the world titles are there. Those are the big goals that everybody wants to reach. Um, with the USKL, with the medal series, you want to get all the gold for the medal series. So that's another goal that I have there. Um, but yeah, um, I would say that those are the big goals right now. World titles with the league, and then getting the fancy medal series with the Utah Sport Karate League.
Love that. I love that. You're a very goal-oriented guy, and you once you set your mind to something, I've personally seen you just crush those goals. So keep at it.
Thank you.
Keep at it.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, so when you're competing and you're training, what motivates you to continue to compete?
Well, when you have such an awesome team behind you, they help to keep you motivated, and really the competitors too. When you know who you're going up against with these competitors, you really have no time to sit back and relax. So, the team that I have behind me helps me stay motivated, and also the competitors that I see at these tournaments.
Awesome. That's awesome. It's always good to have that guy out there to keep that fire under you. I love that.
Yes, ma'am.
No easy wins, right?
No, ma'am.
So, how has martial arts helped you in your day-to-day life?
Ooh, it's saved me. Martial arts has been awesome. It gives me something to do, keeps me busy, definitely keeps me out of trouble. It's taught me a lot about goal setting and perseverance. Um, it's really it's just been awesome for me. Really working on keeping my mindset onto something and not letting anything, stop me to get to that goal.
I love that. I love that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about we've talked a lot about your goals and how you crush them and what an outstanding competitor you are. Can you name some of those notable wins that you've had, notable accomplishments that you've had throughout the years?
So, a couple world titles with the league. Um, have some grand champions with the league and the Utah Sport Karate League. The Team USA was a really big accomplishment for me. That was a big competition goal that I had for a while. Also in 2021, I had the opportunity to compete through the WKC, and then also was titled one of the top tens in the 15 to 17 black belt boys creative weapons. That was also a really cool opportunity for me.
That's awesome. Sky's the limit for you, my sir. All right. Let's keep moving on. I would like to know, and I know our viewers would like to know, you've been mentioned quite a bit as an inspirational competitor in these highlights. How do you mentally and physically prepare for a competition?
As far as physically wise, like I was saying before, there's really no time to rest or no time to sit back and relax. You always have to have the, finding new ways to improve kind of mindset. Going along the lines of mindset, keeping the negativity out of your head. Obviously, when you're in divisions like the creatives and the weapons, you have that risk of dropping or messing up a whole bunch. So not putting the drops and the mess ups in your head, but putting the success and the catching in your head. That's a really big one that we focus on. The word drop is a bad word to us competitors at Valor, so we don't ever say drop, we say catch. We're gonna catch it, we're gonna catch it.
That's right. Mind, body, and soul. You gotta not just work it, you've got to feel it and you've got to visualize it. I'm
Yes, ma'am.
glad you mentioned that. So, out of all the competitions that you've done, what would you say is your most favorite competition?
The Valor Showdown might sound a little biased, but the Valor Showdown has always been a super special one for me. The 2016 Valor Showdown was my first competition ever. So, whenever the Valor Showdown comes around, it always gets me even more excited and more hyped just because of, it just has that special place in my heart being the first competition I've ever competed at.
I love that. I've got to say that's one of my favorites as well. So, can you share with us, and I'm sure this isn't going to be much of a surprise to most viewers, but what is your favorite division?
My favorite division has to be the creative weapons and the musical weapons.
I'm sure it's not hard for everybody to notice how much you love your weapon. You manipulate it with such passion and with such intensity and intent behind every strike. I'm super impressed with you. Like we'd mentioned before, we do a lot of private lessons one-on-one, and getting really ticky-tacky, checking your form, checking your toes, checking your hands, checking your shoulders, checking your strikes, making sure lines. I mean, you really do go the extra mile. And then on top of that, I know that you do a lot of filming so that you can audit yourself and see what you're doing. And I think that's an important part of the process is knowing, seeing what you're doing so that you can really feel how it should be and how it should look.
Right.
And as you mentioned before, we don't like to say drop here at the school. We like to say catch it because the whole visualization, um, it's it's got to all kind of come together, right? Mind, body, and spirit. Mind, body, and spirit.
Yes, ma'am.
So we've talked about a couple of your favorites. but I do want to get a little bit more into your favorites on favorite technique or favorite kick.
I would say my favorite technique altogether would, if it would be a hand technique or a kick. I'm a big fan of the side kick. I do like a good old solid side kick.
I agree. That's a fave, right? There's nothing beats those basics.
Man,
Who's your favorite competitor to watch of all time? This
ooh,
this league or any league?
that's a good question. You know, you have your idols that you look up to. Jackson Rudolph is always a big one that stands out. As far as local tournaments go, I've really enjoyed watching Jackson Carson compete. He's just super solid. Same thing with Anderson catching. He's solid. When you're watching them, they're explosive, they're dynamic. You know, you hardly ever see them fumble on anything that they do. Another one that stands out to me, especially lately, has been Trevin from Team Rumble. You hear his music play, you see the bow in his hand, and you almost have to stop what you're doing to watch him compete.
I love that. I love that. So let's go into some more of your favorites. This is going to be kind of a no-brainer. What is your favorite weapon?
Bow staff.
Easy, easily. Um, and just so that our viewers know, bow staff is not the only weapon that Mr. Garrido can manipulate. He's also quite versed with the commas as well as double chucks and sword skills. He does just prefer the bow staff, as you all know, but highly skilled
Yes,
martial
ma'am.
artist for sure.
Thank you.
What competitor do you think would gives you the most difficult time, the biggest run for your money?
You know, when you get into the black belt divisions, especially the adult black belt divisions, you got lots of awesome competitors. So to name one specifically, that'd be a little tricky. America Cox is always a super great one. Um, Brian from All Star, blanking his last name, but Brian from All Star, he's solid. He's solid. He's always such an awesome fighter to go up against. He always gets me super excited when I get to fight him. Um, when it comes to like the creative divisions, I always have such a blast competing against Courtney Webker. Gabe Johnson's awesome and Rain Carter. They always bring such a fun atmosphere to the creatives division when we get to go in there and swing our weapons around. But to list one specifically, that'd be tricky. So those guys are the guys that you see them walk through the door, and then you get excited, but you also get that stress level at the same time. You see them walk in, it's like, oh dang it.
I love that. Utah has got so many solid, top-notch competitors. So I love that you mentioned so many of our all-stars that we see on a regular basis that are helping inspire each other. I really love to watch how you guys are feeding off of each other. And so I'm glad you mentioned so many competitors because there is so many out there that we can draw inspiration from.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we're getting towards the end of our interview, but first we want to know a little bit more about you personally. Can you tell us some hobbies that you have outside of martial arts? Like you're here 6 days a week, you're here several hours a day. What do you do with life outside of karate?
Life outside of karate. I'm kind of known for like the martial arts within competition and like also with family. I'm known as the karate kid with family. But I've actually been a drummer longer than I've been in martial arts. My dad is, the second I was able to lift up drumsticks, he's like, all right, sweet, and put me on the stool. So drumming and music is a really big hobby for me, especially when it comes to um, getting to work with my dad with music and coming up with drum tracks and everything like that. So music is a big hobby for me and drumming.
I love that. I love that. I'm also a drummer. Must be something about martial artists. We like to hit stuff, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What advice? You've mentioned so many great competitors. You've been to a ton of different competitions. What advice would you give out to inspire other competitors, other martial arts students?
Just kind of bringing back great words from the wise Sensei Brenda. We've also been talking a lot about it to our students this week, especially. We talk a lot about hard work. Hard work will beat talent almost all day long. If talent won't work hard, then the hard work will outbeat talent. So that one's a really big one. Um, Practice also makes permanent. You got the super famous saying, practice makes permanent, or people would say practice makes perfect, but we say practice makes permanent because it all depends on how you practice. So when you go in and you practice how you want to perform, and that's when you'll get the results that you want to see.
I love that. Great advice. Great advice from such a solid competitor. I appreciate that. So those of you out there listening, make sure you take these words of wisdom from these competitors that you see throughout these highlight videos, because they really do have a lot to offer. Not just watching and seeing how inspiring they are. Listen to the words, listen to their advice, and take it to heart. Take it to heart and see what you can do out on the mat with it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, winding down to the end of our interview, is there anybody out there that you would like to, or people that you'd like to give a special thanks to that has helped get you this far, has helped inspire you along the way, and it helped you achieve your goals?
Um, Mom and dad, got to give a big thanks to mom and dad. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. There's no way I could afford the competitions and traveling all on my own, and even just the training. So, obviously, a big thank you to mom and dad. I have a great team behind me when it comes to, you know, the teammates like Courtney that stands beside me, or even just the other competitors that I'm spending time coaching. They are also a great form of inspiration towards me, along with the competitors. You know, my competitors are the ones that keep me on my toes and keep me ready to go. So wouldn't be anywhere without them. And then obviously without a great coach, none of it would be possible without a great coach. So a big thank you to you. And then another big thank you to you for giving us such an awesome league to compete with. The consistency with the tournaments has been awesome, instead of having to wait a whole bunch of months to go to this big tournament and then waiting a couple months to go to that big tournament. The Utah Sport Karate League has been so consistent with the tournaments and with the rules and the competitors. So we obviously wouldn't be where we are without you giving us those tournaments, and then also the staff that's behind the tournaments, as far as the scorekeepers and the other instructors from these other schools that are bringing the competitors to make the tournaments possible.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for those kind words. It is important to have a strong empowerment team behind you, and I know that we treat each other like dojo family, and not just peers, not just friends. We really take that to heart, and I know that you've taken that to heart. And without your dedication, without how hard you work, none of it would be possible. And I appreciate you mentioning about the league. This sport is truly a way of life for me, and giving back to the community, and try to offer as many as opportunities as we can to our local competitors is a huge goal. That's what this is all about, is you guys, you as the competitors. That's what it's always been about. The competitors and the spectators, and just making sure that we can keep this sport strong, keep the sport alive, so that we can give recognition to amazing athletes like yourself.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we have for you today. Thank you, Kamryn Garrido, for taking some time out of your very busy schedule to sit down and give us a little insight on you as a competitor and an individual. I really appreciate you for everything that you do. So you out there watching, all of our viewers, if you would like to see more outstanding, amazing competitors such as Kamryn, go ahead and jump on our website, utahsportkarateleague.com. You can get more information on our upcoming events like the Battleground Sparring, Valor Showdown, and the USKL Finals. We got it all listed out there. And of course, if you guys have any questions, I'm always available to answer anything, and help everybody grow so that we can grow as a community. Thank you again. I hope you have a great day, and that is all for us today.